All right, we're going to break down some real property and the law, courtesy of this profound discovery. How'd they take the land? You know what I'm saying? And if you're in real estate school, you probably could use a couple of these tips. So let's go ahead and pop off.
15. Real property and the law. Learning objectives. When you have finished reading this unit, you will be able to discuss the concepts of land and ownership rights in real property, distinguish between real and personal property and the differences in transferring ownership and title, describe and explain the basic economic and physical characteristics of real property, discuss the limitations of the real estate professional under the law, and define the following key terms. Accession, accretion, air rights, annexation, appurtenance, area preference, avulsion, bundle of legal rights, chattel, emblements. Erosion, fixture, improvement, land, literal rights, manufactured housing, non-homogeneity, personal property, prior appropriation. Real estate, real property, riparian rights, severance, situs, subsurface rights, surface rights, trade, fixture, water rights. 2 Unit MREP_19 EU.in 15 March 7, 2016. 16. Modern Real Estate Practice, 19th edition update. Overview. Real estate is a market like any other. Real property is the product, and the real estate professional is the salesperson. As any successful salesperson will tell you, product knowledge is the key to success. The real estate professional needs to know enough about the product to be able to educate and guide clients and customers, whether they are buyers, sellers, renters, or investors. The real estate professional is dealing with a product that involves very specific and often very complicated legal issues, making in-depth knowledge of those matters a must. Here you will learn about the fundamental principles of the product that is at the heart of every real estate transaction. Land, real estate, and real property. Property. The words land, real estate, and real property are often used interchangeably. To most people, they mean the same thing. Strictly speaking, however, the terms refer to different aspects of ownership interests in land. To fully understand the nature of real estate and the laws that affect it, real estate professionals must be aware of the subtle yet important differences in meaning of these words.
So we got real estate and real property. Okay.
Words. Land. For the real estate professional, land is more than just a handful of dirt. Land is defined as the Earth's surface extending downward to the center of the Earth and upward to infinity. Land includes naturally attached objects, such as trees, as well as bodies of water found on or under it. See Figure 2.1.
So from sea to shining sea, huh?
Figure 2. Figure 2.1. Land, real estate, and real property. Air rights. Surface rights. The bundle of rights. Physical improvements. Subsurface rights. Earth's surface to the center of the Earth and the airspace above the land, including the trees and water. Land plus permanent human-made additions, real estate plus bundle of legal rights. Land, real
Let's
estate, real
rewind that.
property. Land, real estate, real property. Land plus permanent human-made additions, real estate. Physical improvements. The bundle of rights. Surface right. Air right. Figure 2.1, land, real estate, and real property. Air rights. Surface rights. The bundle of rights. Physical improvement.
So you got a bundle. You got the bundle of rights. Air rights, surface rights, subsurface rights.
Improvements. Subsurface rights. Earth's surface to the center of the Earth and the airspace above the land, including the trees and water. Land plus permanent human-made additions, real estate plus bundle of legal rights.
So pretty much what they're
Rights.
telling you is
Land, real estate, real.
what they're telling you is basically how they gonna take your stuff, right? So they add in all these fancy words like subsurface, surface, air, HEIR, land, real estate, real property. So real estate and real property. You see land plus permanent human-made additions. And real property, you got real estate plus bundle of legal rights. Legal rights, earth right, birthright. This shit get, it get deep.
Real property. Property. MREP_19 MREP_19 EU.in 16 March 7, 2016, 1:40 and 20 seconds p.m. Unit 2, Real Property and the Law 17. Land thus includes not only the surface of the earth, with the boulders and plants found on it, but also the underlying soil. It includes the subsurface, the minerals and substances that lie far below.
So overstand when you say you come from the soil, you were right from the soil. This is what they did, man. Land thus includes not only the surface of the earth with the boulders and plants found on it, but also the underlying soil. It includes the subsurface, the minerals and substances that lie far below the earth's surface, as well as the airspace. Do y'all get it?
Far below the Earth's surface, as well as the airspace, the air above the Earth, all the way into space. Most of the surface of the Earth, of course, is not land at all, but water. Federal, state, and local laws govern the ownership and use of the wetter parts of the Earth, including oceans, lakes, and rivers. Private contracts, as well as laws and regulations. Land thus includes not only the surface of the earth, with the boulders and plants found on it, but also the underlying soil. It includes the subsurface, the minerals and substances that lie far below the earth's surface, as well as the airspace, the air above the earth, all the way into space. Most of the surface of the earth, of course, is not land at all, but water. Federal, state, and local laws govern the ownership and use of the wetter parts of the earth, including oceans, lakes, and rivers. Private contracts, as well as laws and regulations, can also limit ownership and use rights in the surface, subsurface, and airspace of land. Real estate. Real estate is defined as land plus all human-made improvements to the land that are.
See how they hit you with it? See, it's all wordplay. It's all semantics. Federal, state, and local laws govern the ownership and use of the wetter parts of the earth, including oceans, lakes, and rivers. Private contracts as well as laws and regulations can also limit ownership and use rights in the surface, subsurface, and airspace of the airspace of land. Read it and weep. Read it and weep. Then real estate. Real estate is defined as land, plus all human-made improvements. Human-made improvements. So I could say, oh, you need a gate. And you'd be like, no, I don't need a gate. So I put the gate up. That's my human-made improvements to the land that are permanently attached or annexed to it. Man,
That are permanently attached, annexed to it. See Figure 2.1. An improvement to land can be any artificial thing attached on or below ground, such as a building, fence, water line, or sewer pipe, as well as growing things that are made part of the landscaping. Real property. Real property is defined as the interests, benefits, and rights that are automatically included in the ownership of real estate. See Figure 2.1. In many states, the terms real estate and real property are synonymous and are used to refer to both the physical property and the rights of ownership, while other states still make the distinction. Tradition.
see what you gotta overstand is when they say other states, they're saying the east states. You see what I'm saying? You see what's happening? Real property is defined as the interest, benefits, and rights that are automatically included in the ownership of real estate. That real estate, what's real and what's fake. In many states, the terms real estate and real property are synonymous and are used to refer to both the physical property and the rights of ownership, while other states still make the distinction, man. Come on.
Traditionally, ownership rights of real property are described as a bundle of legal rights. These rights include the right of possession, right to control the property within the framework of the law, right of enjoyment, to use the property in any legal manner, right of exclusion, to keep others from entering or using the property, and right of disposition, to sell.
So when they took your beloved castles, do you see what's happening? They're going to turn it into a church. That would make it the right of enjoyment, the right of exclusion. Because the church say all are welcome, but all ain't welcome, man. If you go in there saying that's your property, man, they're going to tell you, no, that's not your property because it's real property. You see what's happening? The right of disposition to sell, will, transfer, otherwise dispose of, or encumber the property. Y'all don't hear me.
Sell, will, transfer, or otherwise dispose of or encumber the property. The concept of a bundle of rights comes from Old English law. In the Middle Ages, a seller transferred property by giving the purchaser a handful of earth or a bundle of bound sticks from a tree on the property. After accepting the bundle, the purchaser became the owner of the tree from which the sticks came and the land to which the tree was attached. Because the rights of ownership, like the sticks, can be separated and individually transferred, the sticks became symbolic of those rights. See Figure 2.2. Title to real property. The word title, as it relates to real property, real estate, has two meanings. 1. The right to or ownership of the property, including the owner's bundle of legal rights, and 2. Evidence of that ownership by a deed. Title refers to ownership of the property, not to a printed document. The document by which the owner transfers title to the property.
So let's break it down. Let's break it down. Title to real property. The word title relates real property. Real estate has two meanings: the right to or ownership of the property, including the owner's bundle of legal rights, and 2, evidence of that ownership by a deed. By a deed. Title refers to ownership of the property, not to a printed document. The document by which the owner transfers title to the property is the deed. Do you see what's happening? The concept of a bundle of rights comes from Old English law. Man, just a bundle of sticks, man, not a piece of paper, man. Man, it get deep. You gotta understand and understand that it get deeper than what's on the surface or the subsurface. Continuing.
Property is the deed. MREP_19 EU.in 17 March 18. Modern
See Figure 2.2.
Real Estate Practice, 19th edition update. Figure 2.2, the bundle of legal rights. Possession. Control. Enjoyment. Exclusion. Disposition. Real property.
So let's go back up. Possession, control, enjoyment, exclusion, disposition. See how they got the tree all tied up? Then they say they had you tied up. Man, it all makes sense, right? Them wars were claiming your property, fam. There wasn't no, oh, we must have blood, but behind that property might come some blood. You feel what I'm saying? It's like they wanted your stuff, they wanted your things, they wanted your items, they wanted your personnel property that you had a right to. And they made it all legal or illegal. You feel me? You gotta feel me, man. You gotta know what's happening. Was this the taking of your things, man? And it was. They give you all these legalese terms and they got the right to. You see what I'm saying? You got the right to bear arms. You got the right to free speech. You got the right. Then they take your rights, bro. It's just peep game, man. This shit ain't just happened overnight. It was a bundle of rights. Pop off.
Right of enjoyment, to use the property in any legal manner. Right of exclusion, to keep others from entering or using the property. And right of disposition, to sell, will, transfer, or otherwise dispose of or encumber the property. Possession. Control. Enjoyment. Exclusion. Disposition. Real property is often coupled with the word appurtenance. An appurtenance, something that is transferred with or runs with the land, is a right or privilege associated with the property, although not necessarily a physical part of it. Typical appurtenances include parking spaces in multi-unit buildings, easements, water rights, and other improvements. An appurtenance is connected to the property, and ownership of the appurtenance normally transfers to the new owner when the property is sold. In practice, when people talk about buying or selling,
So when they say sold, check this out. When they say sold, that usually entails them giving you some dollars for what you got, or it entails that debt note, which you call the dollar. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't sold at first. See what I mean? They got the sticks. You get that bundle of sticks to somebody, say, this is yours. What they did was they say, we got our dollar bill and it's more powerful. It is not. They took your stuff. This is what's going on. I mean, it ain't no cookie cutting with it, man. Like, they took it and then they said it's ours, so we gonna sell it. They cannot sell. You just read that. They cannot sell your things, your personal belongings. That's yours. Do you see what's happening?
selling homes, office buildings, and land, they usually call these things real estate. For all practical purposes, the term real estate is synonymous with real property as defined here. Thus, in everyday usage, in practice, when people talk about buying or selling homes, office buildings, and land, they usually call these things real estate. For all practical purposes, the term real estate is synonymous with real property as defined here. Thus, in everyday usage, real estate includes the legal rights of ownership specified in the definition of real property. Sometimes people use the term realty instead. Surface, subsurface, and air rights. Surface rights. Ownership rights in a parcel of real estate that are limited to the surface of the earth are called surface rights. Subsurface rights. The rights to the natural resources below the earth's surface are called subsurface rights. An owner may transfer subsurface rights without transferring surface rights, and vice versa. In oil-producing states, real estate is commonly transferred without including the rights to minerals found below ground level. Recently, natural gas found in
Check this out. The rights to the natural resources below the earth's surface are called subsurface rights. She said that. In oil-producing states, real estate is commonly transferred without including the rights to minerals. Without including the rights to minerals found below ground level. Your gold, your silver, your aluminum, your copper. Pop off.
shale rock beneath the surface that is removed in the process called hydraulic fracturing, fracking, has become economical and created new interest in subsurface rights in many states. Fracking also has resulted in environmental concerns. In practice, a landowner sells the rights to any oil and gas found beneath the owned farmland to an oil company. Later, the same landowner sells the remaining interests, the surface, air, and limited subsurface rights, to a buyer, reserving the rights to any coal that may be found. This buyer sells the remaining land to yet another buyer but retains the farmhouse, stable, and pasture. After these sales, 4 parties have ownership interests in the same real estate. 1. The original landowner owns all the coal. 2. The oil company owns all the oil and gas. 3. The first buyer owns the farmhouse, stable, and pasture. And 4. The second buyer owns the rights to the remaining real estate. See Figure 2.3.
1. The original landowner owns all the coal. 2. The oil company owns all the oil and gas. 3. The first buyer owns the farmhouse, stable, and pasture. 4. The second buyer owns the rights to the remaining real estate. What's left? Do you see what's happening, bro? It's a play on your man. It's a play on your inheritance, your air rights. We just breaking it down, man. Breaking it down so we can build it back up, man. Cause this ain't right, bro. It's thievery. Then they tell you that you gotta pay a monthly fee to stay where you at, but they ain't paying that. They're not paying that. That's the problem, bro. Now you break it down and you build it back up. What is left for number 4, bro? What is left? Because the second buyer, could that be the oil company? Could it be those multi-millionaire investors? Do you see what's going on? I hope you see what's going on. By the end of this, you'll see what's going on and you'll play it back. And you'll see what's going on, man. They say we own everything under the land and what comes with it on top of the land. Therefore, if it's in the air, we own that too. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Figure 2.3. MREP_19EU. In 18 March Unit 2 Real Property and the Law 19. Air rights. The rights to use the space above the earth may be sold or leased independently, provided the rights have not been limited by law. Air rights can be an important part of real estate, particularly in large cities.
We're going to stop that one short right there. The rights to use the space above the earth may be sold or leased independently, provided the rights have not been limited by law. By law, fam. Whose law?
Cities, where the air rights over railroad tracks must be purchased or leased to construct office buildings, such as the MetLife Building, formerly the Pan Am Building, in New York City, and One Prudential Plaza, formerly the Prudential Building, in Chicago. So
we're going to live research that. What you say, MetLife Building? MetLife. MetLife. Oh, come on. Come on. This is Chicago. Well, that's in New York. So you MetLife. Formerly the Pan Am Building. So maybe we need to go get that. See, it say in New York, so that's the one. Pan Am, Pan American. Man, we getting them on time, right on time. All this is right on time. You're never late. Colored people time, man. Look, such as the MetLife Building, formerly the Pan American Building in New York City, and One Prudential Plaza, formerly the Prudential Building in Chicago. Let's go get that one. Funny how they do this, man. A fancy title on it. We're not going for that, bro. Most of these buildings was already here when they found you. See what I mean? They discovered you already living over here. You see what I mean? This ain't no building that was just built yesterday. I don't care what title they put on it, what year they put on it, what Gregorian date they put on it. But what we not gonna do is wait for it to load, right? We're gonna get right to it, man. This ain't no building that was just built. It was already there. It was already there. This is where I get irritated at, man. They know this, we know this, they know that we know this. And if we don't know this, we learn this so we can move about it. Air rights can be an important part of real estate, particularly in large cities where the air rights over railroad tracks must be purchased or leased to construct office buildings such as the MetLife building. I said air rights can be an important part of real estate, particularly in large cities where the air rights over railroad tracks must be purchased or leased to construct office buildings such as the Met.
Construct such a building. The developer must purchase not only the air rights but also numerous small portions of the land surface for the building's foundation supports. Figure 2.3, Surface and Subsurface.
The cornerstone, man. What they tell you about the White House, there was a cornerstone put in place. Do you see what's happening, bro? Oh, man. We're going to pop off with the surface and subsurface rights. And then we're going to end it, man. Because this is some stuff we got to, come together and talk about. I don't care nothing about what you proclaim. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff that got to be defaced and put right in front of the people. Because how many of us are heirs? You know what I mean? They said old English law. What does that mean? Do you see what I'm saying? You got to break all those things down, man. You can't just fidaggle with certain things. You got to break it all down. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Subsurface rights. Farmhouse stable. Oil and gas coal. Before air travel was possible, a property's air rights were considered unlimited, extending upward into the farthest reaches of outer space. Now that air travel is common, however, the federal government, through laws, regulations, and court decisions, has put limits on air rights. Today, reasonable interference with these rights is permitted, such as that necessary for aircraft, and presumably spacecraft, as long as the owner's right to use and occupy the land is not unduly lessened. Government and airport authorities often purchase adjacent air rights to provide approach patterns for air traffic. With the continuing development of solar power, air rights, and, more specified Cali, light or solar rights, are being closely examined by the courts. A new high-rise building that blocks sunlight from a smaller existing building may be found to be interfering with the smaller building's right to sunlight.
So when you check out those rural fairs, they said it's new. When they came here, they said it's a new world. A new high-rise building that blocks sunlight from a smaller existing building may be found to be interfering with the smaller building's right to sunlight. Smaller buildings' right to sunlight. So they took the natural law, the natural order, and mixed it in with a little bit of hijack. Yeah, you get that. The federal government saying, nah, you can't block the sunlight, man. We just building these small buildings. We can't do it like how y'all do it.
Sunlight, particularly if systems in the smaller building are solar-powered. Air and solar rights are regulated by state and local laws and regulations. Water rights. Water rights are common law, historical, or
So when you talking about popping off with the solar panels, that's why you get paid to put them on top of your house, man. It ain't nothing new to them, man. They know this already. They know this. They're regulated by state and local laws and regulations. And again, man.
historical or statutory rights held by owners of land adjacent to rivers, lakes, or oceans and are restrictions on the rights of land ownership. Water rights are particularly important in arid western states, where water is a scarce and valuable public commodity, but are also of concern in agricultural areas and population centers.
So when you hear about them wildfires, you hear about all these things, you revert to this, okay? Water rights, especially if you're in the West, it's important. Where it's dry and it's scarce and valuable to the public, man, but are also of concern in agricultural areas. You know, your Teja, your Florida, your Mexica, your Mexico, Cuba, Panama, Colorado River, Mississippi Nile. Do you see what's going on? They had rights to your water still, historically.
MREP_19EU.in 1920 of Modern Real Estate Practice, 19th edition update. Whether for agricultural, recreational, or other purposes, waterfront real estate has always been desirable. Each state has strict laws that govern the ownership and use of water as well as the adjacent land. The laws vary among the states, but all are closely linked to climatic and topographical conditions. Where water is plentiful, states may rely on the simple parameters set by the common law doctrines of riparian and littoral rights. Where water is scarce, a state may control all but limited domestic use of water, according to the doctrine of prior appropriation. Riparian rights, common law rights granted to owners of land along the course of a river, stream, or similar flowing body of water are called riparian rights. Although riparian rights are governed by laws that vary from state to state, they generally include the unrestricted right to use the water. As a rule, the only limitation on the owner's use is that such use cannot interrupt or alter the flow of the water or contaminate it in any way. In addition, an owner of land that borders a non-navigable waterway, i.e., a body of water unsuitable for commercial boat traffic, owns the land under the water to the exact center of the waterway. Land adjoining commercially navigable rivers, on the other hand, is usually owned to the water's edge, with the state holding title to the submerged land. See Figure 2.4. Navigable.
When you're looking for land, see figure waterfront property, and you're going to see the figures of that waterfront property are astounding. They're astronomical. We the most connected to the water. Do you see what's going on? I hope you see what's going on.
Navigable waters are considered public highways in which the public has an easement or right to travel.
See, because you was a private people, huh? So them navigable waters now are considered public highways in which the public has an easement or right to travel. commercially. You know? Yeah.
Figure 2.4, Riparian rights. Lot A, Lot B, Lot A, Lot B. Non-navigable stream, navigable river. Owned by public. Literal rights, closely related to riparian rights, are the literal rights of own heirs whose land borders commercially navigable lakes, seas, and oceans.
I love how she broke that down. Own heirs. Own heirship. On air or by a ship. You gotta break them words down. You might hate it, but you gotta do it. You gotta do it, man. Navigation, able, river. Non-navigation, able, stream.
Oceans. Owners with literal rights enjoy unrestricted use of available waters but own the land adjacent to the water only up to the average high water mark. All land below this point is owned by the government.
All land. All land. Lakes lead to rivers, rivers lead to oceans. Your house is on top of all those. Pretty much. Depending on where you at. The government own it. Man, I say screw that. You own it. Now stand up.
Government. In some states, riparian and literal rights are pertinent to, run with, the land and cannot be retained when the property is sold. The right to use the water belongs to whoever owns the bordering land, and that right cannot be retained by a former owner after the land is sold. Accretion.
So when you got all these missing people, and you got these people who atrocities were committed to, and that land then is sold, you can't come back and get it. You can't come back and get it because you were the former owner after the land was sold, bro. So you've been in that dungeon, you've been in that cave, you've been under the dirt, you've been in the back of a car, you've been underground in the basement at a house. That get deep. Because were you under that basement in a house by the river underneath the land? Was it tied to you? Were you the last remaining descendant of an empire and you just got snatched up and you like, well, what did I do? And you're numb to the fact that you did nothing. They got to take you because these multi-millionaire, billionaire investors want your land. CC Bill Gates, CC Philip and Schultz, the Morgans, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all that was all them you. And the name was taken. Continue.
Accretion, erosion, and avulsion. The amount of land an individual owns may be affected by the natural action of water.
Pop off.
An owner is entitled to all land created through accretion, increases in the land resulting from the deposit of soil by the water's action. MREP_19 EU Unit 2 Real Property and the Law 21. On the other hand, an owner may lose land through the action of the elements. Erosion is the gradual and sometimes imperceptible wearing away of the land by natural forces.
Earth, water, fire, air. Elements.
Forces such as wind, rain, and flowing water. Fortunately, Erosion USU ally takes hundreds or even thousands of years to have any noticeable effect on a person's property. Flash floods or heavy winds, however, can increase the speed of erosion.
What'd you say? Hurricanes, tornadoes. Goddamn. The erosion is the gradual and sometimes imperceptible wearing away of the land by natural forces, such as wind, rain, and flowing water. Man.
Erosion. If erosion is a slow natural process, avulsion is its opposite. Avulsion is the sudden removal of soil by an act of nature. It is an event that causes the loss of land in a much less subtle manner than erosion. An earthquake or a mudslide, for instance, can cause an
What'd you say? What'd you say? Them typhoons or the mud flood. Oh, man. That mud flood. Go research that. Can cause an individual's land holding to become much smaller very quickly. Y'all ain't got it shit.
individual's landholding to become much smaller very quickly. Doctrine of prior appropriation in states where water is scarce, ownership and use of water are often determined by the doctrine of prior appropriation. Under this doctrine, the right to use any water, with the exception of limited domestic use, is controlled by the state rather than by the landowner adjacent to the water. To secure water rights in prior appropriation states, a landowner must demonstrate to a state agency that the owner's plans are for beneficial use, such as crop irrigation. If the state's requirements are met, the landowner receives a permit to use a specified amount of water for the limited purpose.
You receiving permission. That permit is permission. You can use a specified amount of water for the limited purpose of the beneficial use. Code. When I tell you they code, they are code. They had a plan and they executed on that plan, man. You gotta wake up, bro. They doing all this on your land. You are an heir. The inheritance. Old English law. Why would they do that? Remember all them businesses and they would use the old English, the letters. And you thought that was just, oh, that's so cool. You put it on your t-shirt, you put it on your hat. But let's pop off.
Purpose of the beneficial use. Although statutes governing prior appropriation vary from state to state, the priority of water rights is usually determined by the oldest recorded permit date. Under some state laws, water rights, once granted, attach to the land of the permit holder. The permit holder may sell a water right to another party. However, issuance of a water permit does not grant access to the water source. All access rights of
But they just told you. They just told you. They give you that permit, right? They give you the permit. Hey, shit. See what I mean? Beneficial use. You receive a permit to use a specified amount of water. Now they're telling you the permit holder may sell a water right to another party. However, issuance of a water permit does not grant access to the water source.
rights of way over the land of another easements must be obtained from the property owner. Real property versus personal property.
All right, y'all. We're going to end it on that. I hope you took notes. I hope you followed along. And I hope you come back and check out this video.